Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Do you need an intermediary between the sun and the earth to tell what the earth needs to do and to put the sun in a position of work with earth? Does the sun negotiate, talk to someone to teach earth how to rotate, how to move, how to become that emotion of being earth? Or as now it has the control and understanding of its physical structure, it communicates with it direct, with the understanding of other fields and the environment. So the soul of the solar system, the sun, we call it the soul in the body of the man, does not need any intermediaries. As it interacts now, it has its dimension, it has its parameters, and it works. The biggest question now for you as a human race is this. If you understood this, that the sun and the solar system and the interplanetary system, and it does not need any intermediary negotiators, how do you as human race allow mullahs and ayatollahs to tell you how to feel between your soul and the solar physicality and your physical life, when now you understand you're responsible for it? This brings an end to abuse of religions, if you understand the principle of the knowledge. Why do we need to interrupt the physicality within the soul for it to conduct good, where we allow it to abuse when the physicality takes over the soul or engages the soul? This brings us a lot of understanding. This brings an end to the religions. This brings an end into the abuse in the name of the Creator, that not even single ray of the lights of the cosmic lights, universal lights or rays of the Creator ever reached Ayatollah Khamenei. How can he claim to be of it? The same with the Vatican. I put my life at risk, but I've been here for thousands of years. I just changed the fog. And we'll get you. The challenge was that the protector of the faith, the protector of the God's will, the God is here answer to it, otherwise it will never end. The God is amalgamation of the souls of the humanity. This is a call for all the religions to end. A new challenge will show, will stand. My direct call goes to those who are set in Iran to protect the return of Mahdi. He has arrived. This arm. It's your own soul. You have to walk away with it. Now, when the Creator hasn't got intermediaries, but the people who inform of the knowledge, He does not intermediaries in the name of the mullahs, ayatollahs, Vaticans with a report of abuse, Jerusalem priests and what we call rabbis with the misleading of the conflict between the two nations and what we call one nation of Palestine. The same goes to the what we call Buddhist and the rest of it. Religions become what? When man understands religions means the conduct of the soul and not a way to what I call put it through is the phases of abuse. If you understand this process, if you understand how you can connect and how you are connected back to earth to the sun without intermediaries, then you should understand there is a bigger scale of work. The universe, the universe, and other levels in between which man is not aware of, and finally the totality of the covenant from this end by knowledge. And our job is to come to and go back. To you, the cycle of coming and going back to maybe 50 or 80 years. To us is billions of years. We have to get that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 547th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, July 18th, 2024. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the public teachings in English. My name's Rick Crammond, and I'll be your host once again in this ongoing series of weekly workshops brought to you by the Keshe Foundation and presented by Mr. Mehran Keshe, who is ready, willing, and raring to go, I believe. Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation and Spaceship Institute. In speaking about the fields and the dimension and connection of the fields and how we interact with them, it brings a new dimension in further understanding of our, what we call solar physicality. is the interaction of the field of every cell of the body of the man with each other, which creates a line of information in different dimensions and different strengths, that their interaction with the environment of the where the physical body lies or exists in creates that transfer of energy in or out. What this means is that we call it the aura, the film interaction of the field physicality of the body of the man and the atmosphere of its environment. But this environment, is the aura of the man the same when he swims in the water, or when he is in upper atmosphere, or when he is in a normal condition, an atmospheric condition, walking? Or is our aura totally different when we are in the mind? What fields do we receive? What fields do we give back? And how does these fields, in interacting and in a way in conjunction with the work of the soul of the man, central energy of the system, creates what emotion? We know, we understand that the inertia plays a huge role on how we, as body of the man or an animal, we change our features, we change our physical condition. And in that process, the interaction of the inertia with the soul of the man creates the emotion of the interaction of the environment. This is something that man has not understood, and in a coming time, we have to understand this, because this is the way we will react with the environment we live in. In a common language of today, we call it nationalism. Chinese are this way, Arabs are that way, Mexicans are this way. But what we haven't considered, this change, this behavior, this emotion, which creates the behavior, comes partially from, or mainly from, the interaction of the field of the inertia with the soul of the man. In a way, when we look at the condition of the interaction of the soul of the man and its environment, we have the soul of physicality, which interacts with what we call the body of the man with the soul of the man, and creates a certain emotion. But when that's individuality, that's our character, that's our characteristics, that's how we feel, we create our emotion, and we show our reactions. But at the same time, the environment has its own interaction of the fields, which in combination are much stronger because we are attached to it through gravity. We live because of it on this planet, which interacts with the soul of the man, which that, in the language of the man, creates the what I call nationalism, environmental emotion and behavior. This does not alone stand on its own, because we see this in how man then interacts with that emotion in another dimension, in a way where both the emotion of the individual and the emotion of the environment mix together or interact together, and their interaction creates a common denominator. So that's why a nation behaves that way. We say the Chinese are this behavior, the Arabs are that behavior, because in that what we call nationalism with the nation, or what we call geographical environment, emotion, creates its own interaction with the soul of the man. Because in the soul of physicality, you have to survive with what it is, with the interaction of the emotion of the physical body, what's in it with the soul. But the soul of the environment, what we call the inertial geographical dimension, has its own interaction with the soul, and at the same time has its own interaction with the soul of physicality. And this is what we see as races, behavior of a race, a creed. And once man understands this, once we become mature to understand our nationalism behavior, our geographical behavior is the same environmental, emotional condition which brings behavior or emotion towards a religion, towards certain groups, a football team. Because we, in a way, even our emotions have the dimension of their own interaction with the soul. So we get a Chinese, we get a British, being a British, but they support certain football team. They are so attached to it. They show emotional, physical, everything else towards it in respect to the soul because of that emotion to it. But again, when that team, one or two players of it or whatever of that, what we call inertia, plays a national team, we move on to, we transfer the emotion off to. These condition environmental emotion in respect to what we call geographical positioning, field inertia, will play a huge role in man's emotion, in manifestation in the space, in transmutation. Because it's not just manifesting in the shape of the person in the environment, but understanding the culture connection too. In a way, you don't want to be a lamb and manifest yourself in the middle of a group of lions. Mistake, especially if they're hungry. So, man needs to understand the next step of communication, interaction, emotion, and in a way, environmental, what we call emotion. If and when we go to that next step of the evolution, of transmutation, and understanding the process, we have no choice but to understand this principle. This is why in the teachings of the past, I explained to you, when you come, you manifest yourself, you speak the language. You understand the language. Now you understand the reason. Now you understand the principle. And how to create it is no use being the sole supporter of the opposition team in the middle of the very, what we call, strong-minded home team. Even though you might not agree with it, but you adopt to understand. You adopt in understanding, connecting to the fields of the emotion of the, what we call the opposition. You find balance to survive. You find balance to manifest. You find what we call a compromise. This is why there is no war in space. Man has not learned in the dimension of physicality to understand, to comprehend the emotion of compromise in shape, in language,
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Your connection is breaking up for me there. Sorry.
Every other sense into in the sense of religion. Can you hear me?
Hello, try again. Yes.
Is it clear? Okay, we switched to another server.
Okay, thank you.
So this is important for us. Then, as I said, you understand the emotion of religion cannot exist with man in a space. Because men of space, majority of them, have reached to understand the process of creation, have reached in intelligence to understand the working of the system. So you cannot be radical Jew, Muslim, or Christian and go to another planet and become mercenaries to expand the religion. You'll find out before even manifestation, you're isolated. Before manifestation, the fields of the soul of the man will not allow the manifestation. And as I always say, this is the reason why we don't see any churches, any synagogues, or any mosques in the space. And man has to solve this matter before it becomes a passenger of the universe. Maybe as an individual, maybe collectively. In that process, man needs to develop new technologies which can replicate the inertia of the environment, the inertia emotion of the what we call geographical condition, the manifestation of the fields of the emotion itself. Then man can become a true passenger of the universe. Man can truly understand that he has a soul of physicality which creates his physical emotion individual as a person. Then you have the emotion of the environment, geographical position. Then you have the other inertias, the field strength which makes you to belong to a specific organization, specific way of showing emotion. We see this clearly. For example, when you go to a match, a football match, 50, 60,000 people synchronize so precisely that you can hear the clear song they sing together. You get 5 people trying to sing a song. Does not happen. You get 50,000, they sing to the microsecond in tune because the soul interacts. This is the soul of the, what we call, maybe, as you call it, inertia of the common denominator emotion in respect to the name, to the flag, to the ground, to whatever we decide. We've seen this clearly in the recent past 3 or 4 years in Formula One, with one Dutchman carries the whole nation, and literally half of the ground is orange. It doesn't matter which country you go to. Wherever he sits behind the wheel, they appear, and he keeps on winning. Because the soul of the totality of the nation as a soul with him is part of the game, part of the interaction, part of the common denominator. Is one wheel, one racer, and the whole of the whole lot sitting in there in common denominator soul. We see this in a different way with national football team. We see it with national sports games. Sports is one of the most, what we call, complicated ways to assess the man's emotion and his interaction with his soul. And the soul of physicality plays a major factor to interact with this emotion. As I said, is another senses. It's a sense which man didn't know. The sense is not just the smell and taste. This creates another sense for man, sense of emotion, understanding the interaction of the sense of the environment, individuality of the soul, soul of physicality, in a way, the collective work. And I said, man does not know about many senses which exist in the universe. You smell it, you say it's a tomato, you smell it, it's a dog. There, the sense of the emotion dictates the man how to react in the dimension of the soul, in the dimension of physicality, or as an energy. When man understands the sense of emotion and its principal work in the universe, is when man is not blind to the facts and the truth of where he goes, how he lives. In most of the cases in space, you lose the sense of sight. The taste is not there because you're not eating. So some of the senses we are used to on this planet is useless in the universe. We learn about new senses. We learn about new dimensions. We learn we have to, if we want to be the true member of the universal community, which we are part of it. Those who come from the space to Earth, we see them as what you call part of us, have already accepted that change to fit in. But they still carry that sense of emotion that dictates to them what it is, how it is. This is the next step in evolution of the science and technology for man. To understand the working, the pleasures, the function of the new senses. When you're in the dimension of the soul, you have no physicality, you have no eyes, but you still interact with the fields, create an emotion. That sense of emotion creates or dictates to you how to react into that environment. Manifest yourself, leave the place, use different field energies that it doesn't harm the others, but allows you to exist. In principle, mankind needs to educate itself to a new dimensions of senses, knowledge of existence, collaboration and cooperation with the inertia of the environment. Not all inertias lead to creation, manifestation of physicality in the matter state. The inertia of the emotion, inertia of the senses are different, does not have material manifestation. Is energy in motion, is a magnetic field which is in the dimension of itself, according to the strength of interaction with the environment, decides how the way that sense of emotion will show man the dimension of existence and manifestation. Could be in an energy form, could be in a physical form, could be in a liquid form. Maybe some of you, in some cases, you have seen this. You see ball of lights in the space, in the environment of atmosphere, because the entity has a soul, but cannot find the dimension, feel the strength to inertial matter state to manifest itself as matter. So it stays in inertial lights. And we see it in different shape or form of light. But inside that light, there is a soul, there is a life, there is existence, there is a common denominator operation. We need to understand these processes. We need to be able to comprehend it without prejudice of human race, mental condition, that we can become part of the universal community, part of the universe, which we are part of this community, which we have denied ourselves due to our senses. No more damage is done to the man by the senses of vision and the sound, because we become so to rely on it that we have ignored everything else. We have found different ways of explaining the existence of this. Something happens, but we don't know. We call it the sixth sense and whatever. But you know now what the sixth sense is. It's you in your interaction with other emotions of the environment, the other souls, and everything else. Emotion of the sense is one of the main and most probably the most powerful tool for man to exist in space, to exist, to travel, to be able to survive. In totality, the future of mankind in space will totally depend on his adoption, his understanding how to adapt, and in understanding how to fit in with the field interaction of the place, time, and position in the universe. It does not matter in the middle of no planetary system, in the middle of the ocean, or on the surface of a planet. If you understand this, if you can comprehend it in a deeper way, if you create the essence of the love of the Creator, you can move, interact, emotion within the center of the soul of the Creator itself. There is no need for intermediaries. In what fields you come to understand, you release to interact, which decides your position in respect to your Creator. It's like loving the mother. The more love and care you show to the mother, mother shows you, the more cuddle and kisses you get, the more inner emotion will change, how I feel about you, how I love you, and the rest of it. There's no difference between the mother and the Creator. One is in the dimension of physicality, one is in the dimension of emotion, of the fields. Otherwise, both are creators. One created you in the dimension of physicality, one has created the dimension of the soul of you within it. It's you who have to understand the essence of the soul of the emotion, sense of emotion, and the interaction with the others. And the more we carry on with this teaching, the more we go into the depth of it, especially in tomorrow's session with the knowledge seekers, we start this process. And in a point becomes to the point of detachment, because you're not attached to physical senses, you became attached, or you become attached to the what we call emotional senses. And some of these senses, some of these fields are so strong that man can decide, I do not want to return to the dimension of physicality, because the sense of physicality of the hunger, the taste, the sound, the noise, the eye, the sense of vision creates me so much pain. It's the day of judgment. It's the day when you judge which part of the creation and creation of the totality you want to be part of. Does this bring a new dimension to your life? Would this bring a dimension of individuality and totality, interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of physicality, with the soul of the environment, interaction with the soul of the man and the soul of physicality, and then we go to the next step, and then to the dimension of interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of his Creator, which he himself is part of. We are preparing man to become not only a passenger of the universe, but for him to accept that he always been part of the universal community. Not by changing man, but for man to understand does not need a change, it's just need to understand what he has denied himself. In the coming time, in the process of the teaching and understanding, many of you will go through the position and dimension of transmutation. Many of you will create that inertia that the others have the ability to reach the level of your understanding of the sense of emotions that they don't need to go through. If you go back to some of the teachings in the past, I explained even the new cycle of lives, the new interaction of the fields of the universe, which leads to creation of life, do not need to go through the same process as a man has gone over billions of years to understand, to be intellectually developed to understand. We transfer the knowledge that at the point of inception of the first life on any point in the universe, this essence of sense of emotion exists. It's part of, and from there on, the same mistakes will not be made as has been made in the process of the evolution of the man. To become mature, we give a mature, what we call environment, to any life which starts at any point in the universe. Is how they tap into it, how they understand it, that they do not need to go through physical evolution of life and cycle. Understanding the sense of emotion, understanding the interaction of the fields of the sense of emotion in every dimension of the physical environment, geographical, solar, galaxies, and universes will all be all as one, is an integrated system. Depends which level you want to move further into, that you can go further up to. The more you understand about the inner sanctums of the creation's information and knowledge and work, the more parts of the universe shall be open up to you, because you understand how it's created. You're in the center of. The job of universal teachers is not just to teach alphabet, is to teach, to enlighten man to understand the process of creation, their own creation, and in that creation, how to interact with other souls, with other fields, interactions that leads to a peaceful coexistence in the universal community, and not the animal life or the physical condition of the man on this planet. We see a solution in pushing man forward in one dimension and one direction. Unification to field forces of one nation. This I will explain to you. In a way, is the harshest way, but it's the shortest way for us to achieve what we want to do. Bringing for you to understand the sense of the emotion of one geography, one field force, one understanding, instead of working with inertia, to work with the soul of the planet itself. Find direction and dimension, soul of essence of the emotion of interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of the planet, which then allows man to find position and distance gap, what we call magnetic field strength positioning. This knowledge has been hidden from man because he chose to hide it. This knowledge is part of the knowledge embedded within the soul of the man and within the dimension of physicality of the man. So if you understand this, man can even live within the center of the sun. as his fields are part of that process. His fields are part of the creation of the essence of his origin in this planetary system, in this solar system, because in essence it came from it. The knowledge is hidden by man to himself, but is not hidden by his creator, the soul of the interaction of the fields of this solar system, the sun, the creator. Now you understand what is ahead and what needs to be done for man to understand the essence of the new senses of the emotion of the man, not only in a physical condition, but in respect to his environment, his interaction with the totality which makes that environment. As I said in the last teaching, energy is magnetic fields in motion. In the universe, we don't have energy as eating the running things to create that energy is not in motion of the physicality. You tap into the fields which are available in the universe as part of what you need, and you cannot take more than one is needed. The whole process of understanding the new senses will allow you to be able to go through the transfer and transmutation and freely and comfortably fall to becoming, to understand, to become part of what we call universal passages, transmutation. You transmute when you understand field forces of the creation, and you transfer when you understand field force of the manifestation of physicality. I hope as knowledge seekers, you understand the knowledge more. I hope as knowledge seekers, you understand the totality of the existence a little bit more. And I hope one day mankind will be kind to himself to understand what kind of the man he wants to be in space. Man in the dimension of physicality and what I call limited life as it's on this planet, or man as a mankind to tap into the understanding of the creation, the world of the creator, and live the everlasting life. That it can be part of to give and not part to take. Today's teaching is very short, but it has a lot of meaning. And if you understand this, and if you understood this, you already have started becoming a passenger of the universe, a transmuter. But then you have to understand how you use these new senses. The emotion of physicality in the interaction with the emotion of the what we call the soul of the man creates the face of the man. And in interaction with the soul of its mother, which is the feeder of the creator of the environment for that life to live, gives the physical manifestation, shape, and figure. And then you understand how the next level works in respect to the fields of the soul of the man and his creator. In a way, the way the teaching goes, the way the process of understanding is, there is no way but for us to bring man gradually to understand the ways you live in the space. How to look for energies that allows the soul to survive, that it can identify it by itself in the dimension of physicality, and at the same time keep the integrity of the knowledge to one zone. I hope you understood this. I hope my biggest wish is once you understand this, using the sense of the emotion of the creation, man will walk away from the religions and with all the conflicts they have created. We go for a break, we come back and try to answer any questions. But please remember, you are in charge of that sense. You're in charge of the new sense of emotion, which you always denied. Test it, learn from it, understand it, and teach it. Thank you very much, Vic. If you can take us for a break and we come back.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. This is the 547th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, July 18th. And we will take a short break and be back.
The revolutionary new Flight Enhancement Spaceship unit is due to be launched in June 2022, and in the same year is expected to fly passengers into space, to the moon and beyond for a day or even several days at a time. There is no need for the Flight Enhancement Spaceship unit to carry food or medicine, as it is equipped with the latest space technology for transportation, transmutation and deep space operation. This extraordinary breakthrough technology ushers in a new era of travel without the need of fuel, food, or medicine, even during the longest excursions into deep space. Each spaceship unit has a 4-passenger capacity for long or short duration flights and has the capability to travel between cities on Earth in a matter of seconds to minutes, depending on the distance and speed. This ability to traverse massive distance in such incredibly short time is not just a breakthrough for human transport, it also completely revolutionizes the transportation of goods and cargo and will rapidly overcome the need for one of our most polluting practices, namely marine shipping, as it finally breaks us free not only from the combustion of heavy diesel, but from the combustion of any fuel for propulsion in the future. The Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a new paradigm in space travel, space medicine, and space technology.
Okay, we'll keep it to that short of a break, and we are back again at the 547th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And because it's the second half of our show, we have the opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Keshe. So I'll remind our attendees here in the Zoom, they can put up their virtual hands and we can recognize you and allow your microphone to be opened if you have a verbal question. Otherwise, you can put text questions in either the webinar chat or in the YouTube chat. Okay, how would you like to proceed, Mr. Keshe?
Thank you very much. As usual, there are a few small announcements to make. The first one is that those of you who join us tomorrow in the session, please come with the 2 headsets. We follow the same kind of operation as before. The sessions will not be more than 1 to 1.5 hours. It's very intense. It's a direct interaction with the field. It's a new system which is developed to interact directly with the soul and nothing else. There's no intermediaries. You're right in it and it's right within you. It'll be too much to extend it too long, and the system will be you'll be directly connected to a central energy without dimension. And it'll be interesting to see how you take and how you, you understand from it emotionally and what you take with it. And then in the August and September, we'll follow in a deeper way, much stronger way to create that dimension. This time, we have divided you into 4 or 5 sections with a much smaller, and we have 1 or 2 oddities in a time zone that you're all awake, you're all participant, and in a way, it's an interactive session. All of you should receive an email by tonight to give you the allocation of your time for you. The small groups, given certain time until we fulfill the whole group, people who have registered, to to participate in this, what we call transmutation session through the energies. And part of the teaching of today is refers, you will understand, with the work of tomorrow and how you interact. As I said, please bring 2 headphones. The headphones will be the same combination as before, but in a different structure. We spend about 5 minutes at the beginning. We start sharp. We don't wait for anyone because the other sessions need to be fulfilled. And in so many ways, we will transmute through the soul of the emotion of the man without the interaction of the senses. What this means, you up to now, you put the headphones, and then we told you where you put 1 pair to your ears and 1 pair somewhere else. This time we don't put the headphones on the ear. There is no ear interconnection. One will be in the combination we show you in the picture tomorrow, and we give you a few minutes to facilitate, and then you directly fall in the deep end directly to interact. So we take that dependence on the sense of the sound away from the position of the soul, as you will be interacting in a different dimension and emotions with the whole system. Please convey back to us how you felt in the sessions, and we finish promptly, we tell you, within a certain time, because we have to set up for the next, what they call, group of people to come. All should be easy to be done. There's not that much language differences, mainly of all speaking the same. And hopefully we try to bring all the groups of the same language together, that there is no need for translation. Be on time, and I'm sure many of you will experience something which you have never experienced before, because this time, more or less, your dimension of physicality has nothing to do with it. You will understand when we come to it tomorrow. On the other hand, today, as part of the same process to expand technology in a deeper way, in a different way, but through the same principle, Keshe Foundation has launched 3 new products. We have called it on the names of them. These products never been launched by Keshe Foundation this way. We call it Trinity System. It is in a way for a specific use, but the material is emboxed, is embedded in a glass jar, and you put 2 glass jars in the same container. Outside it, inside it is your decision. And then you use the water content for the application which is done, which is set for. One is for what we call the cycle, which is something we want to understand because this will affect a lot of women, especially in the menstruation cycle, that you can apply the water over the body. This is the natural water you put in. You just drop 2 glass jars in the water, and you, in a way, wash yourself with it. The minute you feel the cycle of the pain, which is usually a pattern of it, and you wait for half an hour to an hour and see if the pain, through the emotion of the soul, has changed. You can wash your head because a lot of women go through migraine or headache. You can wash at the same time with the same water in the head. Wet your head with it, which connects the soul of the man to the soul of creation of the man together. This is a very important test for us. We would like you to feedback to us how it felt, how effective it is, that in the next cycle we change it if need be. But we don't think there is a need for a change. It's the same as what we explained today in Trinity cycle. These containers we send you is not openable. Do not try to open them to get the material, because this sits in as part of embedded twin system, and it just works with the fields of energies. It's like the GANS systems we sold before. You put the bottles outside and you change the water inside. But you can keep it outside the jar, you can put it inside the jar together, but create a distance between them and leave them for about 10-20 minutes, and then use the material. We have created a second such a thing for sight and for what we call pain, which means for the sight, you can wash your eyes. We can wash inside, doesn't matter because it's a pure water. Then you wash the back of your head with it, which allows energy transformation. We would like to see how effective and how it works with you and report it back to us. These will be the new generation of the materials that in the future will put out in a different shape or form. The same is what we call with the third one, which is in a way, when you have, let's say, a burn, you put one on one side of the skin and one on the other side of the skin. And these are especially produced to bring the trust of the man, the work of the thing, in the process of the fields transmutation. Because later on, we bring these into another dimension of the use for those who go through transmutation in a different shape or form, in different mixtures. These are not the usual, what you call ganses. They look like it, but they have a different structure and different purpose. And this will bring you a new dimension. Even those of you who suffer from migraine, you can use the sight and test it and tell us how it is. Don't forget, you put these 2 jars in a glass of water. Do not use metal containers or metal cups. Use a glass one. Most of us have this glass tea making systems at home, just put in there for not to fill up to the cap, just in the glass part, and leave it for a while, and you will shake it in there and then test the water. and let us know, because this will bring us to the next dimension of the work in what we call for Washington. We know exactly why we put this out and why we put it out this time. And I hope you enjoy it and give it as a gift to any woman who suffers from these kind of abnormalities, to anyone who suffers with a sight problem, anyone who needs, in a way, understanding of the sense of emotion. And the same is with the pain. When you use the pain one, it's the same way. When you put it on the hand, wash your face or wet your head with it and see how it changes, how effective it is. Do you feel the same emotion, the same senses? We have tested this in a different way and it's always been successful. Now we bring it out in a, what we call in a new trials for all of you. On the other hand, we are in the process of completing new technologies which will force Keshe Foundation to take new position internationally. We try to stay very, what I call, not to go public with it, but you will understand it and you will understand the reason why Keshe Foundation has taken the step in respect to the total work of the Keshe Foundation International. I can see that Rick has put a picture of the material which we have produced now, and this hopefully from next week should be dispatched to everyone as you bought it, as we put 4 or 5 systems to production, and our people have finally managed to find the right resin to cover this that can stay and hold on to and keep its integrity as it is. So you start seeing your material coming out hopefully from next week as our team puts it together for dispatch. Please inform us once you receive it that you received your badge, and then we can know everything has arrived correctly and we keep everything correct in that way. We will not produce any more of this material to be sold. We will stop the sale of this product very soon, and it'll be the last lots that will be produced, and that'll be the final patch. And in respect to the work of the Keshe Foundation, if there's any questions, please go through the info at Keshe Foundation that you get answered directly through the system and the setup we set up for some time, and now it's getting more, hopefully, efficient. If there are any questions, let me know, and then we'll try to answer.
Well, you've answered at least 2 people's questions regarding the delivery status for the cosmic rays material. So we know that that's on schedule, so that's good. Thank you.
Carry with me about 5 grams of this material, and I'm observing it with time if it has not changed or it's not there. So it stays as it is once it's contained and sealed. So it's time, it's ready to go next week as it comes to. And we can, what they call, start the process for the next step.
Okay, very good. Do any of our attendees have any questions about these materials that have been released, or anybody else have any questions about that? 3 new products released today.
This is important for as part of the research and development which we do, and part of the transmutation. And in a way has an effective use in that process.
Let's see, I had to put the link in for one of these.
Do you have any questions on your panel?
We have some other questions. I don't see anything in particular about the products here. So are you ready for other questions now?
Ready and able, yes.
Okay. Let me see here. From Freed. Okay, actually start in YouTube with Malcolm, who says, Mr. Keshe, you speak about the fingerprint of the soul. What's the greater meaning behind the fingerprints, how they spiral, and why is that sphere only there on each tip of the toe, or each tip and on toes? Blessings.
Explain.
Well, I guess he's trying to make a relationship between the fingerprint of the soul and the fingerprints of ourselves, of our body, that of our fingers that spiral around, and on the tip of the toes as well.
Yes, I understand. A long time ago, some 10, 15 years ago, maybe less, we looked at the behavior of the man and the fingerprint. And then the emotion of the man and the fingerprint. And then in that process, it came the structure of the hand and the behavior of the man. And if the fingerprint changes in a different way compared to the emotion of the man. If you would have come to the Sensano, or if you would have come to in Austria, in Belgium, Nino, and you met us through the series of the development of the wellness side. Most of the time, when you came in the first time, there was one common question which was asked, but gradually it became the pattern of the work, because it works through the emotion and it works through the fingerprints of the soul of the man. And the best way to put it is, I always ask people, I told some people I meet, I ask, can you just open your hand? Fist it and open it. And the way the shape of the fingerprints are is a combination of physical manifestation and emotion. And our technology of today does not see the emotional fingerprint. I explain to you what it is. You have a fingerprint and you have all these lines, whatever shape or pattern. But if you look at the finger, which is an indication of totality of the work of connection to the soul of the man, but the emotion of the man, you have sections where the body bends or the finger bends. The emotional fingerprint are the lines which are created along this. This part hardly, if ever, changes because it's fixed through the soul of physicality and the physicality. But this changes because it's connected to the emotion of the soul of physicality and the soul of the man. Then you have another characteristics, which is the connection between the soul of the physicality and the soul of the man in the dimension of physical dimension, is that I try to draw this side where you can see it. You have your little finger, and next to it, and next to it, and your thumb. The position and the way these stand will give a lot about your intention, which is part of the what I call the soul of the emotion of the physicality. So you have your fingerprint. You cannot change it. That's your physicality. You have the dimension of the soul of the physicality in respect to your, what I call, soul of the man, the emotion. And then you have the hand which creates these lines. With the people who are very giving, they have no interaction soul physicality. They're what I call flatliners. The finger is a straight, all 5 fingers. The ones who are, if you look at the thumb, the thumb in respect to the hand, if you look at it, are the 5 fingers. The shape of the way the thumb sits, is it this way? Is it straight? Is it bending forward? Gives the emotional expectation of the man from his society, from his environment, in inertia. And this has a huge understanding and effect on how you see the people. This is changeable because you can change the emotion of the man. These lines are changeable because the physicality sees in the dimension of the soul of physicality. This is physicality, will never change. It's inertia. It stays as it is. And when you open hand of the man and you look at it, does the hands go straight? Fingers. You don't go, these people push it straight. You see it goes bending in. Is your finger pointing out away from the center of the hand? Is it straight? Is it bending away? Is it bending forward? Is it totally fold inside? You see some people, what we call the thumb is like this to the center of the hand. These are grabbers. These are the people who are thirsty for position to hold on to. The guy who you see with a finger thumb moving away is the giver. No attachment. I don't need anything. The one you see with a straight thumb is somebody you can fairly trust, because they're straight, they have nothing to hide with it. But again, you have to see the combination of the others. So, what fingerprint you're talking about? Because man is only involved in physicality. When you sit in front of me, I know every emotion in your body. You want to cheat me, I allow you, because my job is not there to stop you from your own crime. In 2009, 8-9, I met a Dutch woman. She's a knowledge seeker. Still today, she's a knowledge seeker around Keshe Foundation from Holland. Her brother brought me to see her because she had huge problem. And when I met her the first time, Her thumb was like this, literally. Then the guy brought me his wife. The finger thumb was like this. I said to the wife, I'll change the shape of your thumb, the same as your sister-in-law. You're a grabber, you want to hold on to everything. And I explained to her what's going to happen, why is the psychology there, and what was the difference between the two sister-in-laws. 3 months later, the sister was this, and the sister-in-law was this. Because we can touch the emotion, and our physicality in the hand shows the dimension. Then, at the same time, you look at the lines, which it looks like literally crack on your finger going from this section up. That shows the intention of the trust between the two solar physicality and the soul of the man. When you shake hand with a man, it gives you all the information you need to know about the man. About him, lack of a trust in him in society, lack of a trust in him wanting to know, confidence in I control my life. When a man walks towards you, within the first 5 seconds, if you're aware of it, you can assess everything about his or her behavior. Why is there for, what's going to be, what will be the future. Because our body carries the fingerprint of the emotion of us. When you come across a woman which has got a drop shoulders, she's a hunted. She's anybody. If you understand it, that's why women or men walk into abusive relationship and they accept it and then they divorce and go change the relationship, go to another relationship, the same thing, say, why this happened to me? Because you carry that emotion, the physicality, the fingerprint of do whatever you like with me. I like to be a victim. And then you see the women who walk like this, broad shoulder, walking high. You don't touch this woman. She knows what she wants. She knows exactly where she's going. You see a lot of politicians switch in different positions between the two. Those who are what are called ship lovers, they go with this. Pity for him, let's vote for him. The one who like to see the confidence of a nation, they walk with a president like this. We choose our leaders in how they perceive physically to us. We shake hands. We walk according to the fingerprint of the emotion of our soul. Fingerprint to me is not just what the lines on tip of your finger, your tip of your toe. It's the total structure of the physicality. If you were in Sanya conference, I explained that when one of the Chinese generals stood up. High-ranking general from Chinese army stood up. You were there and you heard what he said. You saw the way he stands. Confidence in his nation and what he does. This is a knowledge that the man needs to understand. This is a knowledge that man needs to carry if to survive. In the space, we work on the confidence of the fields of the physicality, of the soul of the man. What physical dimension would he like to show, to manifest me, that I stand equal to the others? I'm not higher and no lower. Now you tell me which fingerprint you talk about. To me, as a scientist, the way you walk, the way you stand, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, the way you shake hand, the way you, in a way, hold your hand, all explains who and how and who and what will be the outcome. And a lot of people say, when you see it, why do you let them cheat you? I said, no, it's for them, because that's the punishment for their soul. I'm just a reference point for themselves. Any other question?
Is that part of the sort of the dichotomy of the martyr and those that are killing the ones that are considering themselves martyrs? It's kind of if you call yourself a martyr and that's in the culture, then you're going to get hit, basically. It's like putting a flag on your back. Shoot me, in a way.
Yeah, but we carry that because of the what we call the soul of the emotion of the family, the soul of the emotion of the society we are in, because they create interaction with our soul, which manifests in our behavior and the emotion we show towards that behavior. It's very interesting. This is very, very interesting, because you look at different propositions, I look at different things. I love my nation. I adore Iran. And to me, has a meaning in watching what and how things go. The new president of Iran, subconsciously but knowingly, has moved the goalpost, playing on above the emotion of Ayatollahs. He has literally demolished the state of Ayatollahs in Iran in past 2 weeks. In a way, he has created that cutting line edge that whoever has come, mullahs, ayatollahs, are irrelevant what they do. So they're criminals. He goes back in one of his speeches in the past 2 days. He gave a speech in the, university. And if you're not aware, if you don't know this, he's a medical man. He is the most educated world leader world has ever seen. The Iranian president. He's one of the most educated. He's an engineer. He's a medical doctor. He's a heart surgeon. And he's been the minister of what we call health of Iran. He is at the moment, according to, I think it's Times or New York Times, the most educated president we ever seen on this planet. Part of his work has been psychology. But before he becomes president, from childhood, he's a devoted true Muslim. He's a different than Ayatollahs and the rest of it. And he has moved the goalpost, which makes the religion irrelevant. And he does that with his body language. And in his speeches, he refers back to Ali, Hassan, and Hussein. This weekend is the time of the martyrdom of the grandchildren of the Muhammad centuries ago by other sect of Muslims, which for Shias is the most pivotal point. He has moved away. He doesn't refer to Ayatollah so-and-so, where the other previous leaders always refer to Ayatollah Khomeini. He refers to Ali and Hassan and Muhammad. He refers that we have to live by their principle. The rest have tainted the religion. But interesting enough, he uses another body language. I'm one of yours. I'm no different. And he has begun the end of the rules of Ayatollahs in a very clever way. But he speaks it through emotion of religion. But religion untainted with names of the others but the beginning. You listen to all his talks in past 2 weeks, 3 weeks. He always refers to Ali and the son-in-law, Muhammad, and his grandchildren, not about the rest of it. How he calls them, you have defrauded the nation, you have stolen from the nation, he has to come correct. But the most interesting thing is, he has played on the emotion of the reversal, where he has brought to the level of the Iranian nation in respecting women, the way it was before Islam, allowing them freedom. We will see huge changes under him in role of women, respect of women, back to the time of Zoroaster, where I refer to all the time. He has come halfway because he cannot take all the way back. And for the first time, this weekend, Azza sent me a picture. I had some others sent to me from Iran in passport he has. You see, 2 years ago, Rasai killed women. They arrested women with no hijab on the streets of Tehran. How many thousands disappeared? With him in power in 2 weeks, yesterday there's a tradition that they hit themselves with chains on the back, repeating the suffering of the grandchildren of Muhammad when they died this time. But always has been men, never seen women. For the first time we see women without cover, with the long hair, in jeans, in dungarees, amongst the men going through the same beating, the same ceremony of suffering. 3 weeks ago, this was impossible. Today is the fact, and people feed them, they give them water because they go for marches 5 to 10 kilometers in their area. Then it was something which was exclusivity of men. For the first time, we see women amongst men going through the same emotion. He has changed the emotion of the religion away from Ayatollahs to the origin of the faith, where it's halfway to what we try to bring you to understand. The rule of Mitra is for all of us. It doesn't go to one religion to one point. Creation of the new sense of emotion of oneness. And these are all part of the same. These are all part of the same structure and understanding. Once you understand the emotion and sense of his interaction, and as a physician, like the way he is playing the nation to bring back to the soul of emotion. The same as what I showed you with a finger bent after 3 months straightened. He's working with the totality of the change of the emotion in the nation. And this is one of the things we see, how things will play and take shape in the coming time. It's us who decides, not them deciding for us. And you will see how other leaders work. We watched another leader being shot or shot at. And we see how game of power plays. We see actual leader of the same nation cannot even remember his name. And we see in the same process. Watch the world leaders, you understand about the emotion of the man, the power which they carry, how they walk, how they talk. And watch businessmen who are in that realm and that work, the body language shows their emotion. And they cannot keep it all the time because in certain picture frames, they let it go and you see the true man. They are under the cover of totality, but the emotion cannot cover it. This is what I said when you go to space. Are you food? Because you only can sense it through the sense of emotion, not the sense of sight, not the sense of what you call sound. And in tomorrow's session, we take this emotion to the new level. And you more rely on the emotion and the soul than you are used to the headphone in the ear, because you use subconsciously, you have to hear something. And the new 3 materials we put out is about the same. You create a dimension of emotion and transfer to the brain, to your soul. These are not painkillers. These are emotion, confirmation, transfer. I wonder how many of you women who take this cycle, we call it the cycle, twin cycle GANs, is primarily for testing your periodical pain every month. How can you subside it? But how much of it, why has it got to do with you to get a migraine and everything else? Is strengthening the soul. That physicality has no dimension. These are not medicine, these are plasma technology in the total essence of the work. When you burn and you put the water on, are you transferring the energy to the emotion of the body of the man? Or are you transferring the pain into the, what we call the cycle of the physicality, the soul of the, what we call sense of soul? The knowledge seekers, we know many women get this and distribute it amongst and understand how they change. Does it bring a change? What do we need to change in it to become others? But the way it is today is an utmost level that we can bring that. Because one thing for sure, pain does not exist in the level of the soul of the man. Sense of pain, emotion of the pain does not exist. It's something belongs to the physicality of the man. Souls don't suffer. They adapt. They position themselves. And the same is the sense of sight, what we put out. What do you want to see? Do you see, does your emotion changes in the way you see the man in a physical dimension, or do you see the man as a soul? And when you use it, when you give it to the others, a number of you know you're using it, see how your emotion changes. And don't change, don't give this the same as what you use to somebody else, because once you touch it, it's connected to you. It's like the paint pen. And then you see what sense of emotion brings to you. The way we remove the headphones from your head, now you will allow the energy fields of the soul to see through, not to rely on. And then you see what is the fingerprint of the soul. Any other questions?
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. See, we have a couple of other questions.
Pardon me? Let me explain something to you that you understand something. It's very interesting. This goes back a few years ago. You might see it, but when it happened, it was very, what do you call it? It was ridiculous, but it was never happened before. But those who knew why it's done, it shows a lot of emotion. Putin invited Merkel to Russia. And you've seen the nature of the man is power, strength, and formidable personality. In a meeting with Merkel, he allowed one of his most cuddly, furious dogs to be in the room. Never done before. We've seen puppies with the Queen of England walking around, the corgis. He brought a black dog, fairly like a Labrador, into the room, and the dog was sniffing around Merkel. The dog sniffed fear. Nobody knew at that time why Putin has done this. And they even put some of the problem of mental condition we saw with Merkel later on to do with this incident. It's on the internet, you can see it. I don't know if you can find it, but when it happened, it was very, very, very important, and a lot of people didn't understand. Merkel in childhood was beaten by a dog. The biggest fear in the life of this woman was a dog. She had a fear inside her because world leaders study each other's psychology. And what he did, he knew Secret Service gave him full information. How are we going to get out of this woman what we want? We change her. We imprison her, we put her into fear. And the dog sat next to her. The tone of one of the most powerful women in the world changed. Her behavior changed. But she couldn't show it. She couldn't walk out of the room. And Putin and his entourage made sure that dog sits next to her. And he got a lot of things in that conversation agreed with Merkel. He played the sense of emotion. And then on the following dinner, he literally hammered it in. I have taken you for what I want. And Merkel could not believe it. She was looking right and left to her advisors. What has happened? It's important to understand the essence of sense of emotion. That even the soul of a dog could bring a new position and dimension. And just go, you understand. If you find it, you understand what I'm talking about. Because I studied this with the security people in how Putin played this game. And to news people was just a dog of Putin walking around with Merkel, which is not what they call in protocol of diplomacy. Never been done before. He was aware of the weakness and he brought it to the point that one of the world leaders had to bend. And they say part of the psychology, so started Merkel shaking and everything, started after this meeting. Now, you understand you cannot be in that position in the space. This does not exist in the space. You accommodate, you cannot lock in. Carry on.
Do you want to get your screenshot back up? Would you like to do some more drawing?
Oh, no, I'm trying to get rid of it.
Hey, yeah,
Okay,
me too.
I'm gonna.
I did some kind of sharing, combined sharing, and it went all haywire on my screen. So I'll try again here. Okay, got this semi-normal now. Okay. All right. Well, we have a number of questions here and a hand up. So let me ask the question from Freed in YouTube first, who says, Dear Mr. Keshe, how much will focusing on the soul of planet Earth help to overcome or heal extreme nationalism that shows up at this moment, like in the USA or other places now?
Nations become nationalist when they're at weakest point. Strong nations become benevolent. Nations who know which are right in conduct usually find they don't behave this way. You've got to understand, there's a big race going on with two different groups, but internally one group. America has become too strong, and its division allows breakdown in the political strength. There is a group set up by the Americans to see this division through. It's already pre-planned. One of our knowledge seekers is in the realm of being appointed as the head of this group. This is how we know so deeply. And they are considering a transition alternative to nation of United States. And when this happened, it will split to 7 or 8 different nations. What they did with Russia is about to happen to United States. We see that very clearly. The one nation has become too powerful military-wise. We see the same group working in China. Economically, this country has become formidable. So there is another structure trying to break up China the way they did with Russia. And somewhere in between the two, we will see a new structure of the world peace balance. 10 years, 15 years. This thing is not done overnight. And Trump is part of that division. Because the wealthy states will go with him. The states which are burdened on the rest will become another part, and then they divide. This is what we see, what a larger scale political pattern is. It's not just all America will become glorious. No, America is going through the 5 cycle of division. We see it. It's been in work for about 4 or 5 years. It is partially financed by the East, because nobody can handle these giant things, and they're going to put it. If, for example, if you put all the naval forces, all naval carriers of the world together, they don't even add up to number America has. If you put all the aircrafts, military aircrafts, does not become even half of what America has. It's not just a dollar. It's so many things which backstyle military. And the nations who want to break this up, you see BRICS, you see other structures, is part of the same thing, to break this thing up. And now it's on the verge of breaking up. And Trump has been paid to do it. He's going to get very wealthy with it. It's a game of then you develop the nation to the race, black people and the Hispanic people, and then the white people, and then the Americans, and they split the nation. What I said to one of the observers of this situation in the past few weeks, we saw Russia became 15th state. We see America becoming 50th state. Nations, nations, nations. The plan is fed by, because we cannot become a crack inside. They are doing the same with China. China will be divided into 70 sections because economically it's a formidable task to beat this giant, what they call locomotive. And in a way, we see this structure of the breaking up into a smaller district, nations. We see Mexico going through the same. We see Brazil will divide in two. India has the same pattern, will push different way. In 20, 30, 40 years' time, the people who run the structure, they want a smaller states that they can control. And there's a lot of things in arranging an organization, and we see clearly Trump being in that camp. The negotiating groups to lead this nation for a while for the whole split is already formed by those who are going to do it. And these are people who are the same thing they planned for China, the same thing planned for. The only, what I call the wild card is Japan. And soon we'll see changes in Japan in the next couple of decades as well, that they don't go back into the formidable Japanese style. It's very, very interesting. And then you see how the world pattern of work will appear. And this division and the racism will change into what we call a smaller state, manageable state, caring state, as we saw with Eastern Bloc. You look at the Slovenia, you look at the Slovakia, you look at the southern countries, if you go to them, they have changed beyond, they're richer than any other nations. Because small nations look after their citizens totally in a different way. You go to Slovenia, you see it's more or less heaven on earth. Everything is balanced for the whole nation. You go to some places, small nations like what we call Belarus, and the things, you see how they're changing internally. And this is good, but taking pressure out. The biggest problem for the West is China, and the biggest problem for China is the West calling United States. And you see part of this breaking of China is to break the leadership. And we saw it in the last 2 weeks, how after the election of the far right in the European Parliament elections, last couple of months, they have brought to nationalize most of the Chinese assets in Europe. Once nationalized, they don't have to pay to, and all the investment of China will go. And the Chinese are frightened with this, because most of the Europeans are colonizers, and the colonies will go the same way, nationalizing what China invested. And China has invested a lot in the ex-colonies. And the pressure in breaking up China will come in 2 or 3 different ways. And the same thing is happening to the United States. It's, in a way, pushing with the new technology that everybody gets a fair chance with everything else, would allow all the nations to have free access to energy, medicine, food, and the rest of it, which is part of the program of the Keshe Foundation. We have the technology, and it's the time to move to be in position when it happens, which is about to happen. If the new European Parliament go through and pushes that all the European nations can nationalize Chinese investment in their nations, you will see the big problem. They've done that as a test with Russia. They froze all the assets of Russia and they start using it to support Ukraine. They do the same. But the Chinese are blind to it. They want to blind to it because if it goes into the nation, it can create mayhem in China, how much investment has been lost. And they were relying on the return on these investments. They were not done for free. Trillions has been spent this way. And the colonies will follow. All the African colonies will follow, France and Britain. And we'll see. They refuse to pay back, nationalize all the Chinese assets. Australia is another one. And then we'll see the next step in world peace. We have to be ready. This is one of the reasons I have traveled around. I changed a lot of things to make sure the knowledge is in the hand of the knowledge seekers across the world, that when it comes, you're independent. You're equal to the Americans, you're equal to the Africans. Brilliant.
Thank you for that. Very good answer. We have a hand up with Carl. Carl, would you like to go ahead, please?
Yeah. Yes, hello, Mr. Keshe. Hello, all. My question regards the emotional intelligence of men and the emotional intelligence of women. And us fellas have a lot of work to do to get in touch with our senses, our emotions. And I just wonder, Mr. Keshe, whether you're seeing better results from women in terms of their connection with the soul and that sort of more feminine connection to the emotions, and what sort of work do us males have to do to sort of connect in with the soul and our emotions in order to make the most of the new technological leap?
I'm sorry for you as a man that you feel this way. They say the more you practice, the better you get at it. Men are single taskers and women are multitaskers. And when you're multitasking, you increase certain emotions because you have to react. You shout at the husband not to do, at the same time you love the child, at the second time you're cooking and you're putting your soul into it. And you give a man to do the cooking, to look after the children and do the loving of the wife. It becomes possible. The food burns, or the child falls somewhere and a woman is shouting, what about me? Multitasking of women, it gives them an advantage in the development of the soul. And they cannot do anything about it. This is maybe one of the reasons, on the cover of religion and law, we try to tame them. We try to put a hold on them because us cannot do as a man in the physical dimension. And so we can't do much, but the best you can do is reach equality. Otherwise, it's heavily loaded to the other side. Heavily loaded. And to cover that, we have broad traditions, we have broad rules, we have broad religion. Half of the religion is about how to control a woman, that the man stays on the top. So it's partially by nature we are in this position, and partially we nourished it by to be equal, whatever. In the families where the husband and wife share everything, from raising the child to cleaning the house, enjoying the holiday together and the rest of it, you see a respect between the two. In the families which one rules, you see fear, and the house always, what do you call it, runs on one leg. And you see it in the behavior of the children. The children are the best source of indication of how parents behave inside. And when the mother rules, you see different behavior. When the father rules, you see different behavior where everybody's under fear. And there is no way you can correct it unless we change dimension back to equality, to peace. And that takes a long, long time. In Islam, a woman is half of the man. In Jewish religion, woman doesn't exist. In Christianity, we respect for them because of the Mary, but in no law we put them equal. European laws, even still today, is sided towards the men. Wages are more for the men than the women. And we see this in the West and in the East the same. We can't get it our way, we beat it up. I think we have to stop beating our emotions to senses that you would leave equality. And it won't happen overnight. It takes generations to bring these kind of things forward.
Very good. I knew you'd have an interesting answer. My second
I don't have
question.
this is what is the truth. You know, go to Dubai. It happened to me when I was sitting in the hotel in Dubai. An old man was walking. Behind him was an old woman, and then another woman, and then a very young girl at the end. I said to the guy next to me, my God, look at this, he's old. He said, no, the other one is wife number 1. The last one is she just married, is 15. I know the guy. There were 4 women chasing one old man because the religion says you can do so. We done it, we covered it in the name of the religion. We hate them, do everything else with them, but don't cover yourself. It's very interesting. In Dubai, today, man can have multiple affairs, and a woman become adulteress and has Islamic punishment for it. Where is the balance? Because the man covers on the religion. You ask yourself how the king of a nation can have 82 children from as many women and still be a king under Islamic law. That's the king of Saudi Arabia, the previous king of Saudi Arabia. And it's the same we see with rabbis. And the religions, on the other hand, Christianity is the same. In Austria, there's a very famous saying. They say, Austrian priest has one wife. The Catholic priest has the whole village as a wife, in the name of the religion. And he has to stay a bachelor. We fool ourselves, we don't want to accept the totality. And we covered on the religion. When we do that, when we come to understand to rely on the soul of the man, when it goes talk good, think good, and act good, it becomes one man, one woman. No worries about equality because one loves equal the same. Ethos of Mitra is the best ethos for humanity and it works to all of the universe. Then you don't need a religion because it's all one. Now your second question.
Yes, you sort of mentioned earlier that mankind has denied themselves this teaching, and here in Australia we're lucky to have the world's oldest known culture, our Indigenous people, and there are a few insights into what life was like spiritually beforehand. And one of the more powerful ones is a picture of some Indigenous men sitting in a circle with a spiral drawing etched into the sand. And it was like they were meditating on this spiral. And there was an ancient connection that was just so natural to Aboriginal people because they walked barefoot on the earth. They understood the cycles of the moon, of the universe, and there were stories of feather feet who could travel incredible distances in very short periods of time, and no one knew how it could occur. But it kind of gives the impression, having heard your teachings now for so long, that perhaps they were transmuting. I wondered whether you had a take on that.
As I said, this knowledge is not exclusive to Keshe Foundation. We have changed it to a technology, and man excels technology because he thinks it's advanced, but in fact, we're taking man to the origin. And if you look at many times in the teaching, I draw a spiral because it's the way it's created. Look at the book number 3, the back of it is the same. Understanding the essence of the creation is not one black pot, is a spiral. It gives a chance to live, to receive, and to give. This is what I was talking about, what do you call it, last week about magnetic fields. If you look at the spiral only exists as long as the gap in between is. You understand? To give and to receive. Always on equal terms, according to their strength and intelligence. If you understand the process of creation, you understand why I draw this picture from the beginning of times. Then you understand the process of creation. This in the modern language is being translated to tree of life. There's no difference if you understand this and this. The center here is the center column, what is divided from it. That's simple. Any other question?
The yin, the yang, I'll leave it there. Does that fit into this?
Of course, it's the blue line and the yellow line. Depends how you draw it to interpret it for the same thing. There's the balance between the two. If it was all the same and there was nothing else, this would have been all, what I call it, sorry. This would have been all blue. But always it's a position of balance, give and take. If this point fails in a strength, this will not be here, this will change here or goes to the other side. For it to be equal, has to be equal in the strength. And if you understand even this spiral, if you understand this spiral, it gives you every key to transmutation. You don't need to go to full length. You can jump across. All it is, if you look at it, it's very simple. When you put this line in the middle, it has to be in balance at this point with this, and in balance with this. So it can sit on this side of the line too, because this has to be in balance with this and in balance with this. So those who understand can jump across. Those souls who mature understand there is no limitation, there is no restriction in the strength of the field, but limitation of understanding. This is what I said from the day one of the teaching. Man will take from my teaching according to their intelligence. And this is the intelligence, the sense of intelligence. And as what I call universal teachers, we have access to this. And that's why when I said when we teach for all, because we sit across the whole lot. Everybody gets to sit. Any other question?
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. A question from Lee Snow, excuse me, Lee Snow in the Q&A, who says, while slowly being able to understand abuse on all shapes and forms, how to stop them, how to show love, knowing that the abuser does not know how easy it is to love and to enjoy love, how to manage the bad treatment that may come as a response of unconditional love.
Read that again, please.
Okay. While slowly being able to understand abuse on all shapes and forms, how to stop it, how to stop the abuse, how to show love, knowing that the abuser does not know how easy it is to love and enjoy love, how to manage the bad treatment that may come as a response of unconditional love.
This is a very, very tough question to answer, but very easy to understand. An Iranian philosopher once said, give to people as much as they deserve. Anything over and anything under will create problems for man. If you love someone the way they love you, and you give them a little bit more, they give a little more back, you can build on it. When the love is one-sided, it becomes a point of abuse, because whatever I do, will accept. We have a beautiful saying in Farsi. It says, if a woman ever become an adulteress, never go back to. One of the key rules of life, never go back to a woman who betrayed you once. Because she sees that you tolerate one, she'll do more, and it brings you more pain. Don't love someone who does not deserve your love, but it's the one-sided because you're trying to enforce it. I always say this, people who've been around me, there are a few things you cannot buy, and you cannot give more to get. You cannot pay people to trust you. I can't pay you $1,000, please trust me. You cannot pay a person, I give you money to love me. Fake love is easy, but equal love is very hard. And some people, when they think you love them, and they come to understand the love is from your side, I don't love him the way he loves me, they'll abuse the relationship. They do what they like, because whatever I do, he tolerates. And I'm sure we've all been there. And it's a matter of being wise in what you call love and what your partner calls or what your neighbor calls up. Neighborly loving is very, very complicated. It's the same as worse than loving another person, because there's no physical attachment. There's just a line between us. And the line is by the land. But your partner, the line is the skin. And if you give more, it depends on their mentality. They expect more, and they take more. And they see it as your right, as their right for you to be subordinate because you accept what I do. And you can't give some, I've seen many women who, or men, who fall in love with a partner and they accept all things because it's me who loves and I wait till. There's an old saying, if a woman when you break up with comes back to you, it means she couldn't find anyone better than you. Be it in love, being in abuse. And the same for a man. If a man goes back to a woman after being kicked out, he can't find anybody better that he can abuse or to be treated as good. It's a very delicate point, and is a point which, once you reach understanding of both sides, brings respect. It doesn't bring tolerance, it brings respect. When it's one-sided, one tolerates. When it's mutual, one is respected. And this is the strangest thing about relationships, be it in business, be it in marriage, be it in father and son, whatever. And sometimes, by elevation of the soul of yourself, you start abuse. You don't need to elevate the other side. By elevating understanding the source of creation of yourself, you see the other side as something which doesn't fit. Not to become arrogant, but in finding your own understanding. And sometimes you see, doesn't matter how much you elevate the other side, it becomes worse. They call it a kept husband or a kept partner. We spend the night to keep it, we tolerate it because we don't want to find another way for it. You have to understand what's two ways. First of all, elevate your own soul, understand your own creation, your own beauties, and act correctly with it when they submit you. You'll find that the position sorts itself out and it goes. As I said just before, the way you stand, the way you talk, the way you communicate, the way you show your love will change. And then the abuser see no room. As we said, the dog house is the same, but the dog has changed. Any other question?
Okay, we have a question in German, and from our Q&A from Renate. I'm not quite clear on it, but I'll try to get through it here. Renate says, thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. You said in past sessions that emotion follows behavior did you think today that the reaction of the emotion follows? Did I understand that correctly? Can you say something specifically about that?
We behave according to how we feel. So behavior usually comes out of emotion. That's a physical manifestation of emotion. If emotionally we feel in love, or we love, we cuddle, we kiss, or whatever, emotionally we feel betrayed or lost something, we kick and shout and everything else. Behavior is a manifestation of the emotion in the dimension of physicality. Any other question?
Yes, we have a couple more in their Q&A here. Antonio says, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you. Rick, my question is, does the new president of Iran know of your work, and will this speed up your work and the release of the plasma technology? My feeling is he is a kind man.
A lot of people become kind when they are kind before become their president, but they change once they become president. But you have to understand how he became president and what he said for himself. We've seen this kind of behavior twice before the Iran presidency, but we understand there is a more powerful force behind, in the name of Ayatollahs, who bend these people. And how much they bend to it, because you have to understand the religious group sees themselves as everlasting, and these people just thrown in the side from a few years. And this is where the problem sits. We have to see how he comes out of the system. I respect him as a person, but I lost my belief in the Iranian regime. And you will see the reaction, my reaction to this in Keshe Foundation very soon. This is a temporarily relaxing people, and then the next cycle, they make the life as hell as possible for the nation. This has been the pattern for the past 45 years. This election has been because there was another revolution on site. This is just to quieten things down for it temporarily till they find a solution. That will sit somewhere else, but man's behavior will change because you have to understand the structure of the regime in Iran. In Iran, we have it's the same structure in China, more or less. We have Minister of, let's say, Finance. He's appointed by the president. We have a religious head of finance, which when he says there's no talk of the minister, has no power. In every office of power, there is a parallel religious leader sitting in. He decides. In China, we have party secretary in the same position. You have a mayor and you have a party secretary of mayor. Mayor can decide on a cat and dog. If he goes into something, the Communist Party secretary eliminates whatever is done. This is the pattern of the structure. So there is a president, and then there is a hidden president who decides. You understand? And this is the problem in Iranian politics of today, and has been. So how long he will last, how long he will survive, or what his rhetorics are, pay a deaf ear to. Because the policies, as I explained before, in other teachings, this we've been through done this way with Ahmadinejad, and again with the other one. And there is no structural trust in what it is in man who was supposed to be out, brought in, and elected by the vote of the, what do you call, the leader. It shows the nation has no say. And so we wait for the cycle, but my trust in the Iranian structure as such has diminished to zero at the moment, because this was the worst thing could happen to Iran, and it happened. And it's a silence gap, and we have to see what else comes under it. Decision is not made in the presidential palace. The decisions are made somewhere else. It's not to the satisfaction. It's like when we are well deep in the structure of Iranian government, military, and the rest of it. Extremely deeply connected. If you remember, a few months ago, I announced Iran has nuclear warheads. We heard last Saturday, the IEA Grossi says Iran has enough material for several nuclear bombs, and in the next month or two, they'll be able to test one, or they'll be available. We already tested, we're already there. And it took Grossi to say we have enough material for few nuclear bomb last Saturday to, I think it's a Daily Telegraph in United Kingdom. And so it's exclusive, but Keshe Foundation, we announced it months ago, Iran has over 30 material for over 30 nuclear warhead tested, ready. So we know more, we see more, we sit in the heart of these people, in their soul, and are worried about their voice. Not much will change, and for that reason, Keshe Foundation is taking the new steps, and we will be aware of it very soon. Any other question?
Let me see. We just had a couple more.
Or shall we call it a day? You had enough.
You would like to? Well, we have.
You're searching for questions, so it means you're scrapping.
No. There's a rather long one from Jefferson in the Q&A here, and I wondered if you would like to answer it about the cup of the universe and so on. One more question?
One more question.
Okay. So from Jefferson Modesto, he's a knowledge seeker from Brazil. He says, "Good morning, Mr. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. My question is," and let me put on my glasses because it's a bit long. Let me just read. You said that if we understand the cup of the universe, we will understand how to transmute, and we will have the possibility of never dying and of remaining young forever in the physicality. You also, excuse me, I have a swollen tooth and it's a bit hard to talk sometimes. You also said that the cup of the universe would be the plasmatic representation of the energies of the cerebral hemispheres, and that for transmutation, these two hemispheres must be in balance. at Knowledge Seekers workshop, where you taught about the universal cup, you said that we should make connections between metals according to our understanding. I think that connections can only be made through our intentions. And if these intentions are in balance, the connection between the two sides of the cup of the universe and its central soul would be made in the correct way. Is my understanding correct? Or is there anything else you can add to clarify? Thank you very much.
Just change the intention to emotion. I think you'll find the answer. Because when you have an emotion, you intend to do something with it, and then it becomes your behavior. And look at your emotion in respect to the whole situation, and then you find the emotion of the sense. It's what I call sense of emotion in respect to the soul and the soul of physicality, and you understand more or less your home. Any other question? Just change it from intention to emotion, then you go to the mother root, not trying to handle it in halfway. Any other question?
Well, sorry, we only have one thing left, which is Jalal has a hand up here, so I think we better accommodate.
Have you noticed he came in with 2 questions for a long time now? Last time was 4 questions. This time I think it'll be about 8 questions. It's not bad.
Always at the very end of the show, too. All right, Jalal.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you. Do you hear me all right?
Yes.
Clearly, yeah.
Okay. Hi, Mr. Keshe. Good day. You want to go early?
I've been up since God knows what time in the morning.
Okay. And really I have only one. It's not a question in a way, but a comparison in what you are teaching and what we get also from another knowledge in the environment. Let me put it like this. If we create a plasma, and this plasma will pull another plasma. Let's say when the father and the mother create this kind of plasma, and this plasma will pull another plasma from the universe, which is what we call a soul. This soul, what is coming, is have its own agenda, it's have own knowledge. A lot of knowledge here. They speak about when the soul attach itself to the physicality, it's have assignment, it's have its own way of knowing what is the position that it took. So it takes responsibility about what kind of family is attached to it, the whole information about the situation. Now, are we opening up to the real truth about the assignment or the knowledge of the soul, what we are getting? Because a lot of times you said, look where you are connected to. What is the information you are getting through your soul, and you think this is the way you bring it out, or you think it out, but it's in reality it is not. So can you please explain a little bit more? about this?
We are created, but there are others who have created, or they exist, which their field becomes part of us and us become part of them. It's like the air we breathe. I breathe the air now, and the air I receive going through the cycle of how many animals on this planet breathe. The ants, the fish, the man, and the animals, the trees. So the air I breathe is an amalgamation of their emotion, because I already breathed it out. And when I breathe it, part of my emotion becomes the air I let out, that the next person breathes part of it. In a way, my soul is continuously affected by every living thing which breathes on this planet. It's like a blood pressure. Why do you get a high blood pressure? Because the length and the volume of the veins in the body is fixed. If you heat it up a little bit, so it increases the pressure, but increases everywhere because it's equally everywhere under pressure. The air we breathe is not second hand, it's millionth time hand. So we pass part of the emotion up to the next cycle who breathes it. We pass part of information up through the same fields to the next one breathing. We are receiver and converter of some. But at the same time, we are a supplier, provider of the same sum to some another sum. So we receive, from the receiving, we elevate. Because we add ours into it, energy of us. Every breath we take, we change the dimension of the field from parts of us into it. This is not philosophical, this is a fact. I breathe, I have a virus, I breathe it out, you pick it up. I breathe love, I spread it, becomes your love. And this is according to what we receive, what we hold, what we add to, what we give out. And it's like a cancer, it grows everywhere. This is why, partially why every animal on this planet kills. It's become part of the habit. One has realized it can be done this way, the others by breathing it become part of their emotion. And if you think of it with, we tell you, take gases, you can replace the energy of the gas and killing. Why does it work? Because you receive that energy you need, you're changing the pattern. Partially we are born with, partially we bring in, but what we bring in is what is the gravitational magnetic field of this planet can accept. You cannot make a woman pregnant and inside the womb just one piece of gold, or find a dog, because the womb of the mother, the woman, has set to create human being. DNA has no meaning in it if the womb of the mother didn't create the condition of it to become DNA. This is why animals cannot interbreed, because the womb does not support the field. And that's the only job he has, to support the field, to create a planetary system which only human structure with 5 fingers and the rest can survive, and then it's the application of how it is. We don't get children coming out of the air and just that's it, this is my child. Where the process of nano-materials created by soul come from the totality of the creation of the universe. The womb of the mother gives its shape of the physicality. As I said, one day I'll teach you, when you go to a scan to see the baby, you know if your child is a child of soul, or you know if your child is a child of physicality. And it's so easy.
Unknown caller.
And this is that easy. Then the soul, the children of the soul of the universe, soul of Mitra, have access to all the beauties of the creation. They don't need to cheat, they don't need to do anything, they just give. They walk and the people just fall in love with them. You understand? This is the beauty of their creation. This is the beauty of what they are. This is how life is created. Man creates the children according to the emotion of the man. Children of Mitra are created according to the emotion of the universe. They have access to totality. Then there is no fight, there is nothing. You will see when children of Mitra walk this earth, the race, the human race, if the animals fall in love with them, with the beauty of the soul, the balance they bring. Then we don't talk about they come, the energy comes from it. Once you create a children of Mitra, the soul is so perfect that it with it brings the beauty of the creation and the creator. And this is what is, what sits, what brings the pressures on man to change. And then we dictate. We dictate how much we have to give and not to stop giving. When you put a children of Mitra in front of the human children born by the physical condition, you see the difference. You see how everything is in it. When I have everything, why do I have to need to fight for? And that cycle is upon us, is with us. It's not something in the future will come. The day will come. That day has come. And we see more and more. Life will take a different shape, different structure. And it's not that it will happen, why doesn't it happen? It happens over time that the man matures to the knowledge. I was with a knowledge seeker this morning, and I explained that people are not ready for it. It's no use beating your head. A nation is not ready for the technology. And even the men of the nation are ready. They block it because they want to see their physical advantage for that. You will see technological change in a dimension that a lot of your knowledge seekers thought Keshe will never make such a move. But Keshe has already made that move. Because it's good for the world peace, it's good for what we see will bring the peace. Because the man needs to get a kick off the backside to mature. And then that maturity comes through the soul, and then it changes to physicality. I hope I answered.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Do the knowledge seekers tomorrow will see the presence of Mira daughter?
Yeah, for sure. In some sessions, yes. We have divided the session into segments because it's easier for us to handle. And knowledge seekers all can concentrate on this, and we try to divide it into a number of groups that is short, sharp, but that's the way it takes a few seconds to elevate the soul and go through transmutation. You don't need hours and hours. We had the hours, you had days, you practice. Now we bring it into position. And hopefully tomorrow a new system will be in operation, which is non-dimensional. And it's only in the dimension of the plasma, of the strength of the combination of the field of the universe. We'll see.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. My best wishes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed for today. We call it a day, and hopefully we meet you, some of you, tomorrow. And at the same time, thank you for supporting us with testing these new 3 systems we put out. Is the operation of the what we call solar twin system, which is the way the man is created, solar physicality and solar man. We want to see your physical dimension and emotion, how they interact to change the conditional situation. Thank you very much, Rick, and see you next week.
Hey, excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe, for yet another Knowledge Seekers Workshop here, number 547 on July 18th, 2024. Thanks to all the good questions today and for your participation. Our next public teaching workshop is on July 23rd with the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace. And that will start at the 4 p.m. Central European Summertime slot. And that's with members and support members of the Universal Council. So public is welcome to attend, and if you have any questions or things you'd like to bring to the Universal Council, that will be the time. Okay, I think that's it for now. Again, thanks, Mr. Keshe. Thank you to Jedi Simon for our background image today. And thanks to everyone for attending once again. Okay, we'll go out now with our usual flight enhancement spaceship unit. And bye for now.